And yes, not a dumb question at all. The donate button can always be accessed with !donate, and the link will take you right there. And you'll see a variety of wonderful incentives we have coming up. Let me talk a little bit about those incentives as we bring up our next run. So we have Celeste Wave-PowerPoint reading by me during my farewell run later. We're on our way to meeting that. We have Save Lance for Lena's Inception. We need $75 more for that incentive. We are over halfway for sing-along percent for Nappletail. I know you want to hear wonderful, wonderful singing by our runner for Nappletail. And cutscene percent for Sayonara Wild Hearts, which is coming up later in the marathon. So if you want to see any of those happen, get your donations in towards that incentive. And there are also a few bid wars that you can check out. Like for Celeste Farewell, you can pick our file name, or you can choose the outfit choice for Rabby Ruby Rando. And it looks like it is time for our next run, Speaking Simulator. No upgrade disable by bonkstrats.
Yay! Thanks, Flygon. Yeah, everybody, hello, welcome. I'm bonkstrats, and I'm gonna let my commentator introduce himself.
Hey everybody, I'm Puffing Arthur. You may know me as the bad boy of Bonks Chat.
Can you help me
Perfect, love it. So yeah, this is Speaking Simulator. It's a small game made by Affable Games. I would describe it as hilarious and bizarre, but many people have described it as cursed, which is super valid. The premise of the game is that you're brought to life by this AI who apologizes for doing so, which I think is a really good note to start existence on, but who then tells you that you will have a mission to help cope with the horrors of life, which is to infiltrate and destroy human society. So you pick a chassis, and then we get going to talk to folks, learn how to speak, and I'll let Arthur's going to really drive this today because this takes a lot of concentration for me to speedrun, to even just to play casually, honestly. But anyway, so Arthur's going to take it away here in a minute once time starts. I just wanted to give a quick plug. I feel like I didn't explain it very well to ECC, so hopefully this will give a good plug to chat. But the bid war for this, dance or not dance, there's a level where we go on a date to a club and we're talking with our date, and at the end of the date we can go on the dance floor, or in the speedrun I just would breeze right by it. So we're essentially like quote unquote saving the frames if we don't do the dance. But if we do the dance, you get to see some silly dancing for a few seconds at least. I can dance for however long we want, but anyway. So that's a little bit more about the bid war in case you were confused. What's the dance? What's not dancing? What does that mean? That's kind of how it breaks down.
Awesome. And so for that, it looks like we have $180 for do the dance and 0 for don't do the dance. So I think unless I get sniped really quickly, I think we're going to see some dance moves. But also, when are we going to be hitting the start timer?
Right. When I hit confirm, so I'll count down on 3, 2, 1, go, and then we'll get started. And are we good on that? Are we ready to go?
Yeah, I think we're ready to go. Go ahead and count down.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, fellow human. Nothing is going on.
Okay, so how are you controlling what you're saying?
With the controller, yeah, sorry, I don't know if Arthur's still on. Arthur's kind of gonna lead this. I don't know if he can see or hear what's going on right now.
Yep, sorry guys.
Okay, great. All good.
Took a second for my stream to come through there, but yeah, so you can see that the way that you're controlling what you're saying, the speech systems evolve throughout the game, but right now, mainly what you want to be doing is moving the tongue to the right part of the mouth, and you also have some control over the jaw and the lips. You move the jaw up and down, and the lips in and out. So, you know, I'm no speech pathologist. I can't say how accurate any of these actual movements are, but the mechanic here is that you want to be controlling, you know, much like you're actually trying to speak, you have to move your tongue in in concert with your jaw and your lips.
Are there any coolant fluids available?
Wow, that seems extremely complex.
Please forgive.
Yeah,
my
and this is
error.
without any of the upgraded systems, so it gets pretty overwhelming, especially on a no upgrade disable run. So, maybe after we get the first couple upgrades in and we see how how intense it can really get. We'll talk a little bit about the beat the game category and how you can get some speed gains by turning the systems back off once you upgrade them. But yeah, there's a good reason why I'm doing the talking while Bonks is doing the playing here, because it's a lot of information to process and control at once.
Very high focus speed run.
Menu is
Yeah.
my greatest nemesis. He just saw me mess up like twice just trying to buy the right thing and get back to the level.
Later. Grant my external.
Right, so the first upgrade here that we just purchased is called Emotive Display, and it's required for this first level. Second level, I guess. The first level is your date with Karen from HR, and it's a bit of there's some mixed messaging going on in that date with Karen. She's noticed you at work, but she's also noticed you as a potential mate. But she recommends you for a promotion. And so you meet Grant, who's your manager, and you're interviewing for a promotion right now. And you can see this new emotion bar on the side. Oh, and it looks like Bonks just raised a little suspicion. So what happens if you screw up one of the controls is your suspicion meter can grow. And when you raise suspicion, your robot body starts to malfunction. So through talking to the developers, we know that there's a little bit of RNG involved in the speed run here, because sometimes the penalty that you get for raising suspicion is just cosmetic, like your ear popping off. And sometimes it's actually mechanical, like the buttons inside the mouth that you have to hit will move around to, impossible angles, or you'll completely lose control over your facial expressions, things like that. So, yeah, so this bar on the side, the expression bar, you have to now also, at the same time as you're moving your mouth and tongue to speak, you also have to be controlling your expression. Moving between a neutral expression and a positive expression.
Wow. That's a lot of things. I like his ear popping out. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, some of them are really funny, and some of them are pretty troubling. There's one where it's a full facial seizure, and it not only does it distract you from what you're trying to control, but there's also some particle effects and stuff that obscure some of the controls for a little while. So yeah, it really is a mixed bag of what kind of penalties you might get.
I like how you're only a little suspicious with your ear totally hanging out of your head. Just minimal suspicion for that.
Yeah, and even just the way that the main character's name, I should point out, it's a great little joke. His name is Blank Text Field. And so Blank, if you listen for a second to even the stilted way that he's speaking, prior to 2020, when all of us went into quarantine and forgot how to actually socially interact and all started speaking like Blank's text field. In 2019, when this game came out, there's a little bit of suspension of disbelief there to believe that he isn't raising suspicion. But now it just seems normal. So in this level, this is one of my favorite narrative pieces of the game, of the run. You've been promoted to manager, and you have calculated the proper amount of time that it should take your employee Carl to finish a report. that he's working on, and you think it should have taken him 16 seconds to complete, and he's already run 2 minutes over that 16-second deadline. So you go to the bathroom to check on him and make sure he's doing okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's too real, really.
Carl.
Yeah, there's some pretty like. I mean, Bonk says we've made the joke that the humor in this game is tongue in cheek, but it's also there's like some pretty progressive or like some pro labor messages in this game for sure about how everybody's always just trying to optimize for profit and for output. So
It is,
yeah,
it is
you're
literally tongue in cheek. You can see
it is
in your
exactly. Most of the time, the tongue isn't in the cheek, which is probably some of the most horrifying imagery of the game. This is a comedy / body horror speed run.
9 seconds.
Are your
So yeah, you're giving Carl some positive reinforcement on using the toilet at work and also not worrying too much about his wedding.
Oh my gosh.
So he's stressed out about planning his wedding, and you're saying, you know what? Don't worry about it. Just finish your business and get back to work. So for this level, there's actually no required upgrade, so we're using all of the same systems. But we did, because we're running the no upgrade disable, we're still using the emotive display from the last level. If you were trying to maximize your speed gains between level 2 and 3, you would actually disable the emotive display.
Only worry about
Gotcha, that makes sense.
report. I accept your offer.
Best human wedding attendant.
The customary best human.
Yeah, Carl said, "Thanks, man." Or he says, "Thanks, you're the best," and you say, "Sure, I'll be your best man."
Oh my gosh.
One of my personal favorite jokes in this game.
Someone in chat asked, we dancing? We are absolutely dancing. Very
Yeah, we'll see that at the end of level. Sorry, we'll see that at the end of level 7.
Heck yes.
Designating this room as home. Organic.
So now we have an upgrade called Socio-Optics Dynamics, which controls the level of eye contact that you have to make. So you'll get a little prompt that says you're either not giving enough eye contact and you have to shift your eyes back to the subject that you're speaking to, or you're making too much eye contact and drawing suspicion and you have to look away. And as you can see, if you watch the tongue for a couple of cycles, moving it around to the 3 buttons, there's a little bit of jank there. It can start to get all twisted up in the mouth, which really just adds to the visual appeal of the game, I have to say. And B, if you there's a strat that Bonks is using here that you can leave the tongue on a button and it doesn't seem to activate it. So you can leave it in a more neutral, rather than going neutral in the mouth, you can leave the tongue where it is unless the button you're touching goes red, and then you have to move off of it. But that keeps it from getting tangled up too much, because then you actually have to do some joystick work to untangle the tongue before you can hit the next button, or you're going to raise some suspicion.
Do we have time for a donation in here?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Awesome. We have $100 from Druvek. Thank you so much. And it says, the comment here says, bonkstrats is an amazing streamer and is an amazing person. Also, Puffing Arthur, you are the baddest of boys in his chat. Do the dance! Thank you so much for your generosity. You are so kind.
I love you, Drew. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. Thanks so much for supporting UB and for supporting the Trevor Project. That's awesome. It was neck and neck whether we were going to do the dance or not. So I'm glad you came in last minute.
Only a $200 difference.
Excellent. I am pleased.
Well, now, with that update, we have $255 for Do the Dance, and 0 for Don't Do the Dance.
People love a dance. You got to give them what they want.
Can't wait to see it.
Past inspection. Query. Will you sign documents testifying to that?
Pastor Medical.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you. I'm tense. This is a great commentary job and great hosting, and I'm having fun, and it really does take so much focus. One thing I said earlier, but I didn't elaborate on this. So I'm doing this all with the Xbox 360 controller. So the tongue in the mouth is with the left stick. The mouth open or shut or narrow or wide is the right thumbstick. Eyebrows are, you have to press the left or right bumper depending on which eyebrow it is, and then use the corresponding stick. Moving the eyes is the D-pad. And that might be everything. And even talking, I just messed up twice, so I'm gonna stop talking.
That's a lot of things to keep track of. You're doing a really great job, so.
Elite.
And about I can't help but talk. One thing I will say, I just saw that like the whole face like rotated, and then I just like something just wasn't registering as I was in the right spot, even though I was in the right spot. Like I'm still seeing new penalties for invoking suspicion, and that was one I encountered for the first time the other day. Was the whole face body like just turns away from you, and you can't see what you're supposed to do.
Oh no!
So that's a fun bit of RNG for sure.
For commercial gain.
Yeah, so it is a lot to control with the Xbox 360 controller. There is the option of mouse and keyboard where you use WASD for the tongue, but then everything on the right side of the screen you control with mouse clicks and drags. So it actually, it becomes pretty cumbersome. Your tongue control becomes a lot quicker, but then the clicking and dragging to, you have to control the emotions and the eye contact and your jaw position and your lip position, all by clicking and dragging around on the right side of the screen.
If you elect me, you will only be optimized for electrical.
We have time for another donation in here?
Let's go for it.
All right, we have $75 from Province of Pry Bars.
Pry Bars, thank you so much.
Yeah, and it says, how can one marathon be filled with so many lovely people? Gotta have my bonks. Thank you so much.
Pry Bars, thank you very, very much.
Rise up and
we truly all are just Saturday morning children looking for our Bonk's breakfast cereal.
Be valued equally.
Always.
No human shall be spared.
So you can see the nose going pretty haywire here. This is one of the penalties with particle effects that can make it a little distracting. Sometimes the smoke coming from the nose covers up the arrows for controlling the jaw and the lips, so requires a little bit of extra attention on the part of the player.
Tomorrow, the reign of business.
Meg asks, why is this game? I don't know if anyone has an answer to that, truly.
I don't, although the Discord linked on the speedrun.com page is the dev Discord, so if anybody wants to join the party, you can they're pretty responsive. You can just jump in and ask. I challenge
That's
you,
very
Meg, to jump in
cool.
and ask them.
Meg, I can do it.
Yeah, hop over to the speedrun page, and maybe you'll even be inspired to run it yourself and try and dethrone 2-time world record holder bonkstrats.
I have
It's free, honestly.
only morally
Good.
choices. My entire lifespan.
So we've got an upgrade here at level 6. We're talking to a bouncer outside the club, trying to get in. They want to make sure that we haven't had too many drinks on our way to the club. And the upgrade here is expressive facial pistons, which moves your eyebrows up and down. And your eyebrows do move independently, left and right.
Liters of fluid. That is the
Is the robot lying here? I'm assuming that it can't have any liquid in its body.
liquid.
Yeah, this is a common theme that if you actually take the time to play through and catch all the dialogue, the robot has some very specific lies about what it means to be a completely normal human. So it speaks a lot in averages, and this is what a human would do and say. I am a human, thus I am doing and saying it.
I am legally eligible for
Do you ever see something move and think, oh, that was a speed strat? It wasn't. It's just, that's why I describe this as Simon Says, is because I'm just trying to react as fast as possible to what I see pop up on the screen. And I'm over time getting more, I guess, passive familiarity with what's going on, but I have by no means memorized. Although you could memorize what's coming up next and the sequence of events. It would be a very tall effort, but you could. Anyway, I'm definitely not at that level, so if you're like, oh, I saw you move the eyebrows when there was no arrow, that must have been... No, it was a mistake.
Yeah, Bonks and I were talking a little earlier about muscle memory playing into PBs in this game. That it seems like there might be ways to optimize runs by enabling and disabling certain upgrades at certain points, but really there's still a lot to max out in terms of just being able to anticipate the next 5 or 6 moves because you've played it so much.
I enjoy comedy, despite how
so the next level here, a little bit of a spoiler alert. We do convince the bouncer that we are sober enough to get into the club, and the next level that we'll play takes place inside the club and is where the fabled dance scene does take place. So if there are any naysayers last minute who want to pony up 300 to stop the dancing, any killers of joy out there?
I am continuing to refresh. I still see 0 on Don't Do the Dance, but I'll let you know.
Yes, I am joyful that
No, it looks like people are pouring money in to do the dance. So.
That's what we like to see.
Is progress.
So the upgrade for this level is called Kinetic Auditory Response, but it doesn't actually, it's a required upgrade, but doesn't actually add any new control systems. So we do stay with just only the 5 simple control systems that we've seen so far, that you have to simultaneously move the tongue, the jaw, the lips, the eyes, the eyebrows, and the expression.
Easy peasy, no problem.
And on top of all of that, in this level, Bonks has to remember not to spam through the end of the level for speed strats because we're gonna do a sweet dance for everyone.
I did practice right before we kicked off. I was like, I gotta run through this level so that I know not to press the button and then skip the whole thing, because that would be a true. I could take as long. I could go overestimate, whatever. But if I skip that, that will be the true disaster. We won't do it though. I'm good. I'm ready.
You're right. Chat is getting ready for dancing. We're gonna dance along with Bonks. Everyone get your fun grooving dance emotes ready in chat.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, dance along with Bonks sounds like a marathon all its own.
Yes.
This is a 24-hour marathon of Bonks playing Ring Fit Adventure.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh no, 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 no.
Pretty legendary.
Yes, I am.
Why is some of the text capital and some of the text lowercase?
really in
So the lowercase, as far as I'm able to tell, is when the robot uses. I should stop calling him the robot. Blank text field. The man has a name.
this joy.
It's
Man,
when you can also hear when I'm not talking over it, but his voice changes slightly to indicate it's like an automated speech system is like inserting the proper value.
Oh.
Like if
okay.
if you like call a phone line and it's like you are number 6.
are X.
Yeah. Okay. That makes
So
sense.
the joke here that just used lowercase is Karen, you're on another date with Karen and she asks if you're having a good time. And you say, yes, I am greatly enjoying 9:36 p.m.
Okay, that's good. That's really funny.
See, and your resume.
Oh my gosh, his eye is so wacky right now. Oh no. The
Okay,
more I
the
look,
dance-
the more I realize.
All right,
The dance is after this text box, and I'm saying
Right.
it out loud to prime
here
myself.
we go.
Just-
All right, chat, get your dancing shoes on.
Dance emotes,
Here it
dance
comes.
emotes.
I
Spam your dance emotes.
human and not a robot.
Okay, there we go. So it's a little. I hope you didn't feel like it was an oversell. You just get to move around, and you just get to do some self-expression.
No, this is
You get-
amazing.
You get to twerk it. He's big on hips, really, is what I've
Yeah.
learned. Really popping the booty and making sure Karen knows he's got some junk in the trunk, all for her. I think you can do. Oh, there we go. I was like, I don't really know how this works, to be honest. I'm just kind of moving around the joysticks.
Seems like he's really into the right arm, but the left arm is really just there for balance, which is
Yeah.
a great dance technique.
I'm trying other buttons now. Let's see. Does the D-pad do anything? No. Okay, good to know.
For those in chat who might not know, I did used to work with Bonks, and we've been on a dance floor before at
Oh my
office
God.
parties. So, and this is a pretty accurate representation.
Oh, dang. I don't know if that's a burn or a compliment.
This is a compliment, clearly. Look at these
Compliment. I
moves.
mean, I
Look
wish
at
I
these
had that hip
hands.
control, honestly. All right, that's the dance. We'll keep it moving.
Thank you for the wonderful dance.
Yeah, thank you everybody for donating that.
Yeah, thanks
I'm
so
blown
much,
away
everybody.
by how much got raised for that. So thank you so much. Trevor Project's awesome. So it's great to be able to do this.
Good evening.
Yeah, Blank's a way better dancer than Karen.
You
Absolutely
are.
true.
I assure you.
Y'all, I think
that
Karen might be a
I
robot.
am.
Yeah, that dance, she was just going up and down. That was it.
That's
Like,
a good
come on,
read. That's a
girl.
good read. She's not a robot. She's just white. Cut her some slack.
Yeah, this came out a little before all the Karen discourse, but Affable Games knew. They knew it was up.
They knew.
Right. They knew the pandemic was coming. They knew that the Karens were coming.
Yeah.
Me that his decision to marry
So now, blank text field,
was
the awkwardly chosen best man at Carl's wedding is giving his best man speech.
political.
So this is probably like, of all of the humor, this is probably maybe the most misanthropic level. Lots of jokes about love not making sense and not knowing why Carl would ever do something like this, but I'm assured that it's a beautiful government regulated thing.
Make him feel.
And we also have another upgrade for this level. So it's not a new system, but it is the second level of emotive display. So now instead of just transitioning from neutral to happy, you also have to transition all the way down to sad as you're speaking. Which, I gotta say, does seem like a strange upgrade for this particular level, because how often do you need to look sad when you're giving a best man speech? But
by excessive chemical
Oh man. Register, there you go. Sometimes the tongue just doesn't push the button.
We also have $20 from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you so much.
Glad.
thank you very much, Anonymous.
However, I do see
I'm glad you're enjoying this very cursed content.
in
I am. I truly am.
marriage a legally binding.
In watching Bonks play this a couple of different times, you know, we've talked a lot. Chad has talked a lot. Bonks and I have talked a lot about how distressing some of the visuals can be, but I do want to give a special shout out to the sort of groaning guttural noise that the robot produces in between syllables if you take too long. It's somewhere between like a stomach gurgling and like maybe a baby dinosaur. And it's pretty horrific, just as like just underlying background noise to, you know, trying to commentate a stream.
Motion is crucial. It is crucial not only to the efficiency.
I don't know what's more mesmerizing to watch, like the tongue part or the face part. It's amazing.
Exactly like being on a real date, right?
Yes, I'm analyzing the extremely specific mouth movements and eyebrow movements.
I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself? I was watching your tongue intently.
Who are all human. So I say to
Oh man.
Betty and Carl, good luck in all future contractual ventures.
You know you've upgraded the system fully when the tooth turns golden.
Yeah, you got that. You got that Joe Pesci and Home Alone drip.
Yes.
We always knew he was the peak performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what peak performance looks like.
Yeah, Alex Jones
may
is
not
the meme,
like
but
it,
Joe Pesci is the truth.
and organic
So this is the second to last level. We have upgraded level 2 of expressive facial pistons, so a little bit more control over the eyebrows. And we are currently giving the eulogy at Grant's funeral. Grant is the boss who promoted us, and there's a callback joke as to why he died. He was talking about how much he loves taking his supplements, and blank text field says that he takes beryllium oxide, and so Grant tries some beryllium oxide, and unfortunately, not being a robot, it does kill him.
Oh no!
People dismiss this game, but I mean, it has highs, it has lows. You'll laugh, you'll cry. Fallen Game of the Year.
Game of the year.
Speaking simulator, GOTYE.
How am I bring up message of hope for you all. The commission human parts are
Keep getting debated by the buttons in the mouth, Arthur. I don't know if that was something you were going to talk about later, or if that was in your notes. I can talk about it if it wasn't.
correct.
How stuff like changes depending on what you're doing outside of the mouth.
I don't want to distract you too much from your run, but I actually don't think I'm familiar with that system.
Yeah, you're good. That's a huge shout out to Arthur on all of this, because I'm the only person running this game, and I had to pick a poor soul to be like, hey, could you learn some stuff about this game so that you can talk about it for me? And Arthur heeded the call. So you'll notice a couple of, well, I don't know if you've noticed, but a couple of times I've gone to go hit a button in the mouth that's green, and it will not be green all of a sudden when I get there. Or worst case scenario, as I'm headed to hit it, it changes to red, and then I invoke some suspicion. That's because there's a couple of dueling strategies. The first strategy is that because some systems use one stick and some use the other, you can parallelize some of these things to do them at the same time so that you're saving some time. One thing I've noticed as I'm trying to develop some strategies to play this is that if I prioritize doing everything outside of the mouth, that sometimes I can get away with not hitting buttons in the mouth. If I like move the mouth with the right stick, what would have required me to hit maybe the bottommost button in the mouth no longer requires. The game has moved on to the next word. And so if I just leave the tongue alone for as long as possible, sometimes I can skip through some of those things. But it won't give me the next thing to do, I guess, the next objective, unless I've finished saying a word. So sometimes if nothing's happening on the screen, I finally look to the mouth, the tongue cam, and say, okay, is there something in there I need to do? And so I'll go to do it right as the game catches up to me. And it's like, oh, right, you did all that. Now let's change it. So there's like a give and a take where I want to skip it, but then sometimes it might look like, well, you're not doing anything. It's because I'm waiting to see what the real button, the real next button needs to be, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that very well.
No, yeah, that's really interesting how you have to... There's sometimes a disadvantage to being on top of what's happening.
Yeah. And that's why for all of the silliness of this, and like, I do think it's funny, and it is 100% a meme game to speedrun. I do think there's actually sincerely some really interesting like speed things going on, so if I can entice anyone to take a look at the end of this, that would be a huge win, but I'm not holding anyone to that.
Yeah, chat. Come on, someone's got to pick this up. Give Bonks a run for his money.
If blank text fields can teach you anything, it's that we are all so much more efficient when we work together.
Dang.
Word
That's
to
next
wisdom.
level, man.
Wow. So deep. Kat says she might.
This might
And
be a
has
good.
bought it. Yes.
Oh,
All right, good. We have our first sale. This is the time to drop in that I am working on commission for game sales. So that's not true. I have watched hours and hours of this game for absolutely nothing.
it's true.
Enjoyment and fulfillment. That is what you've gained. We have all gained.
Yes, said in the blank text field voice. I'm doing this for enjoyment and fulfillment.
Kat also says it has cooperative multiplayer. Do I see a co-op run happening?
Potentially, yeah, there is multiplayer. I haven't played it, but I did notice that on the Steam page. There's also, they advertise in the game that there's Twitch integration. The first time I played this casually, I tried to get it to work with Twitch, where chat gets to like move stuff around. But I never got it working. I need to ask the devs about it. I'm sure they'd be very helpful, but
That would be really cool.
supposedly that's a thing, and it's another selling point for you. So yeah, the two categories right now. Sorry, I feel like I'm stealing Arthur's thunder.
That's okay. I did highlight the categories at the beginning, but yeah, just once more to now that we've seen all of the upgrades. Yeah, there's two speedrun categories. There's beat the game and no upgrade disable. So no upgrade disable once you buy an upgrade, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 required upgrades. You cannot take it back off. Current on speedrun.com, current world record is 42:01. And then for beat the game, after there are certain systems that once you beat the level that requires them, you never need them again. So you can disable them and run a lot faster in the subsequent levels. Current world record for beat the game category is 37:52. Bonks and I were speculating last night that a sub 30 would be pretty impressive.
I think for beat the game, a sub 30 is probably pretty achievable. A sub 30 for no upgrade right now, with my very limited knowledge of the game, seems like it would be surprising, but I wouldn't put it past anybody, that's for sure. Anyway, also, so point being, I was going to say that like there can absolutely be a co-op category, and I'm willing and excited and hopeful that people will want to jump in and be like, this is what I think this should be a category, and not just me flying solo. Shouts out to Meg McAttack, who actually named this category, because I asked and that was her best suggestion, and I was like, yeah, that's good, I'm gonna do that.
I mean, this is the perfect place to show off some really unique runs that, don't have a large communities, and hopefully people watching will want to jump in.
Many of you who will lose your own.
So, I don't think we've talked about the context yet of, or the narrative of this level yet, but this is maybe where we name drop that the devs for the game are Australian. So, their understanding of the American political system. No shade to anybody watching that's Australian and does know the political system, but it seems that if you get promoted in this game, at the very least, if you get promoted high enough at your job, you get to go to the U.S. Senate and make some sort of speech on the Senate floor. It's unclear if blank text field is now the president of the United States. What does he call himself? The greatest hero in human history. Is what he calls himself in this scene.
Time's gonna be when I advance through this text box. We are actually close to the end. I will help call it as well.
Used to our march into the future.
Time.
Nice.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. My end is a 40. Pretty good. my PB now, I haven't been recording as I've been practicing this week, so I've like a 58 PB, but it's not on speedrun because I haven't been recording, so one day I'll record another run and update that. But, so we did it. Yeah, this is a message from our benevolent AI who gave us the mission. All of human society is now weirdly excited about being turned into batteries. And let's see, yeah.
GG.
This is the future liberals want.
Yeah. Indeed. I just wanted to say a quick shout out to, well, of course, Arthur and Flygon. Thanks so much for hosting. It's been great. Thanks to MBT who's been doing the restream, and shouts out to all of Educase Collective for putting this on. I know this has been a huge amount of work, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. This is the debut. This is the first ever marathon showcase of Speaking Simulator. Thanks, of course, to Affable Games who made this. They've been, like I said, really helpful with getting the speedrun scene going, so it's been really fun. And I would be remiss to not say shout out to Soulsting, who DM'd me and said, I saw this game on Game Grumps. It looks really funny. You should stream it. And I said, yeah, sure, whatever. And then the first hour of playing it casually, like 4 people came into chat and said, oh man, what would a speedrun of this look like? And never one to let a meme go. I said, I will speedrun this. And it took off from there. So thanks to Soulsting for her impeccable taste as always. Yeah.
Thank you, Soulsting, for doing this to me. Thanks, Bonks. Thanks, chat. Thanks, Educase Collective. And thanks to everybody who donated. Such a great cause. I hope everybody has a great rest of the marathon. Yeah, that's it. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. That was Speaking Simulator. No Upgrade Disable by bonkstrats with Puffing Arthur on commentary. Thanks y'all so much for showing off that wonderful, really cool, really weird game. If you loved that content, Bonks is going to be running it again at Power Up with Pride in a few weeks. And you can go and watch for even more content of Speaking Simulator. So that's really exciting. And thank you to everyone who donated for the dance incentives, because that was everything I wanted and more. I loved it. So while we're getting set up for the next run, let me read a donation or two. We have $100 from Valachek with no comment, but thank you so much. You are so incredibly generous. We've raised over $600 now, and we started at noon. So I'm blown away by the generosity of everyone watching. Truly thank you to everyone who's here. And everyone in chat, thank you again for being here. If you've just joined us, this is Undefined Behaviour. And it's being put on by the Educase Collective, which is a streaming group made up of creative queers who play, build, and break games in interesting ways. You can follow us, at twitch.tv/Educase Collective for more content. This is the first speedrunning marathon that we are putting on, and every month we have a game of the month that's voted on by people in our Discord. And you can see us just playing through a lot of like queer games and queer content. We had a randomizer night the other night, so we have a lot of content that we want to share with you all. That's really important to us. And so just thank you for being here and supporting our first marathon and this channel overall. And I'm going to give us some updates on our incentives. So with that final donation, it looks like we have met the Save Lance incentive for Lena's Inception. That run will be going on later during the marathon. Thank you all who donated towards that. We have a few incentives that are still open right now that haven't been met. We have wavedash.powerpoint reading by yours truly, Frozen Flygon. During the farewell run tonight, we need $20 more to meet that incentive. Sing-along percent for Nappletail by Aberelia. We have $55 out of $100 for that. And then we are looking for $200 to see all the beautiful cutscenes in Sayonara Wild Hearts. We also have some really fun bid wars going on right now. You can choose the file name for Madeline for the Celeste run. We have the outfit choice for Rabby Ribby Rando between Halloween, formal, and normal. So if you're interested in any of those bid wars, check those out.